All right, let's say you are ready to take your drawing and create it into a digital file. So here's my scan of my drawing, and I'm gonna put it here. Actually, this is an old student's drawing, but I'm gonna use it as an example. When I go to Illustrator, I'm gonna show you a couple things. I don't want to go to File, Open. This is what I do not want to do. I go to File, Open, Desktop. There's my drawing. I don't want to click my drawing and then open it. I'm gonna show you the difference. See how small that got? It's exactly the drawing. What I do want to do is go to File, New. I have my inches. I want to change the name to whatever I want, and I want to open up a new document. This is what I want. All right, I'm going to show you the difference. And both of them are here. The first one is my first composition. All right. If I go up here to my colors, I have no colors. There's nothing here. I can't change the color of my line, my stroke. I can do nothing. Okay. If I want to go to my paintbrush tool, guess what? I can't even use my paintbrush tool because there's no strokes for me to use. I don't want to use it that way. Instead, I want to create a new document. Here, I have all these colors. Okay? When I want to go to my paintbrush tool, guess what? I can use my paintbrush tool. So then how do I get my picture, my drawing on this document? Okay, this is what you want to do. So now we have that. We want to create a new document. We want to open it. Okay? I'm going to go down to this bottom corner and I can make this smaller so I can see more of my desktop. All right, move this around. There's my picture. So see how I put it in the bottom corner for a reason? There it is. I want to now click it and I want to drag it in. Boom. It just put my drawing into my very, very large composition. Now it's okay. My drawing is very small compared to my surface, which is 18 by 24, but we did that on purpose. I'm now going to use my black arrow tool to manipulate that. I'm going to hold down Shift so that I don't change the angle of this. Now my composition is more horizontal than vertical. So when you are creating your document, you want to make sure you switch it to portrait versus landscape. That's something you also want to consider. I'm not going to really worry about that just yet. I'm just going to rotate this and make it vertical. All right, so there's this. I'm going to line it up as much as I can. And let's just, there we go. All right, so there's my composition. All right, so once I have it in there, I've downloaded my image, I've made it large, I filled up my whole space, I'm good. All right, the next thing you do is you're gonna come over here to this side. We haven't really talked about things over here. I'm gonna hit layers, here's layers. All right, remember it says like Photoshop. I'm gonna go to layers, and there's layer one. It has my little image on it, so see this little picture? That's the picture you have. Here I have this eye. If I can see the eye, that means I can see what's on that layer. If I cannot see the eye, I cannot see what's on that layer. So I want the eye there. The next little square is empty. I can lock that layer so that I can't do anything to that layer. That means when I go on here and I try to paint on this layer, it will not allow me to do it. Okay? So anytime you see this little pencil line with a line through it, it's probably because that layer is locked or you're not on the right layer. Okay? So we're going to start talking about layers. All right? So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this object, I'm going to click it. I'm going to go to opacity, which is up here at the top, and I'm going to lower my opacity to about 50. All right. So it's very, very light. Then I'm going to lock that layer, and I'm going to come down here where it says create new layer. All right. The new layer goes right on top, which means everything I make on this layer will go on top of my first layer. And it's not locked, but I can see it. And you notice they're color coded. The first layer was blue, the second layer is red. Now, as long as that blue layer is locked, I can't get on it. So that's clicked on the blue layer. I can't do anything to the blue layer. See? It won't let me draw anything with my paintbrush. If I click on layer 2, now my cursor becomes my pen, and I can actually draw on there. Now, this is my first composition. It's all straight lines. So the pen tool, the paintbrush tool, is probably not the one I want to use, because even if I'm trying to be careful and make a line straight, And let's make that line black so I can see it. It's probably not going to come out as the straightest line in the world. It's going to be very loose. All right, not really going to work, correct? Excuse me. So instead, I probably want to use my pen tool or my line tool. The first thing I want to do is I want to start, because I know in here where it's darkened, I decided I wanted to color that in. Now, since I was using pencil, I can just shade it in. I can decide what color I want to be later, but I do know it has to be filled in. So what I want to do is I'm going to start by creating the lines. I'm going to start with a rectangle that has no fill, just an outline. And I'm going to make an outline of my entire page. I'll make it a little thicker so I can see it, and I can make it thinner later. All right, so there's that. I put it to 10. So there's that black outline, okay? Now, as I start creating these lines, some are thicker, some are thinner. I can use the line tool to do that, or I can start breaking these down into little shapes. However you want to do it is fine with me. Let's go with the line tool. So I'm going to start with the line tool, and I'm going to start at the top where I create this rectangle. And I'm going to create my first line. It goes like this. All right, and that seems to be thick enough. I think I'm going to make it a little bit thicker. Good. And let's make this next line. Now, see how this it kind of stops short? I want to make sure it goes and overlaps my rectangle. All right. When I say overlap, see how this overlaps here? This overlaps here. This overlaps. Those overlaps are going to be very important, because later on, if we want to add color, that's going to be vitally important. Okay. So just using the line segment tool, we're just going to go in and start creating our line composition. If there's a shapes, like for example, this shape here, then use the pen tool and create those unique shapes, if you so please. Okay, so that's already there. It's done. So being able to alternate between which ones you want to use, which ones you don't want to use, as far as tools. Now that I've taught you the tool, now it's about knowing when to use which tool. When to make it thicker, when to make it thinner. And I'm going to do this relatively quickly so you can kind of see get the idea. What I'm doing is copying and pasting the lines, copy and paste it, versus remake a whole new line. I just think it's faster for me. Now you can draw each line if you want. I just think it's faster for me just to take it and then change the size of it. I want to make sure I make these lines overlap each other, and that's very important, and I'm going to explain to you why, or I'm going to show you why in just a minute. All right. If I go through this whole process and I make all my lines, even this dark area here, instead of making it try to make it one big thick line, I'll probably just make a line on each side. I'm gonna do that little area just so you can see it as well. I'll probably make a line here and a line here and here. All right, notice I didn't make one big line going through there. All right, I mean, I guess you could and make this thing white and then put all this on top, but again, it's all kind of how you want to do it. Actually, I think I will do it that way. All right, so once I have all these lines in its place and I've created my my image, what I want to do is highlight everything. I'm gonna go to Object and I'm gonna go to Expand, and then I'm gonna hit. It's all this is already checked. You don't want to change anything. You just hit OK. All right. What happens is it changes the single line into a shape. So if I were to zoom in, and I haven't talked about zooming, but I'm gonna talk about zooming now. If you hold down Command and hit plus, you can zoom in. Okay. So see how these are all, the red line goes around it, makes like a little box going around the line. This is what it looked like before. It was a line because all I created was a line. All right. When I go to Object Expand, it makes them into shapes. All right. It expands a line into a shape. That means a shape I can then take and see it has no outline. It switched the outline into a fill. So now I can actually change the color of it if I wanted to. All right. I'm not doing that just yet because I'm really focused on the lines of it. Okay. So now if I zoom out and I can do Command minus to zoom out, or I can hit Command 0 and it goes back to my normal screen. Okay. So I've created all these, I've expanded them all. Now what that allows me to do now is to select the lines and erase out the shapes. And I want to zoom in and show you this. Let me make my eraser small. All right, so I only selected these straight lines, and I know I want to erase those out. I selected them, so when I erase, I'm only erasing the lines that are selected. Now, when I first start erasing, it's going to look like I'm erasing this this vertical line here. That line is not selected, so I cannot erase it. Even though it might look like I'm erasing, once I finish my erase, it's going to pop back, and it's only going to erase what I want to erase. So here's my eraser. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Oh, darn it. All right, so boom, just take that off. See, I'm going right so that circle's on the inside there. And I just want to erase just that little part. All right, on this side, I'm going to do the same thing. I just want to erase the parts that's overlapping. It cleans it up, makes it look nice and neat. I mean, when you get really good at it, this doesn't take as long. All right. When I click off, back to my arrow, see how nice and clean that looks? All right. So I'm just going to go through and do that to all the lines that I need to do that to. And learn your key commands. It makes it a lot easier to kind of switch back and forth between things. Like the black arrow, if I hit the letter V, it automatically goes back to my black arrow. Shift E as in erase goes to my eraser. And I don't have to go up here to click this and then come back down here and then go back up here and then go back down here. I can just be zoomed in and I can just get my select tool and then erase. And if you ever want to know what a key command is, the select tool, see it says select tool, has the letter V. If I hit V, it goes to it. Guess what? For pen, it's P. So if I hit the letter P for pen, it automatically highlights that. If I hit V, it goes to that. If I hit Shift E, it goes to my eraser. You can see the highlight change to what I want it to be. All right. I can hold down shift and select multiple objects at one time. So the cleanup kind of takes a minute. I'm gonna stop right here and let you understand that. All right, so when I did that expand, this is still a shape. See how it's expand? That shape is expanded. All these are now shapes. Okay, everything's been expanded. But what I can do, let's take this part out. I didn't erase that little section. Erase. Once I have all that done, I can now highlight all of this. And since these are shapes, where those shapes kind of overlap each other, I can now use the shape builder tool. So this says shape builder, says shift M, or I can just click it. It's right here on the side. It says shape builder. I'm gonna click the shape builder tool. And when I go and highlight over these areas, anywhere it's close, see how it highlights just that little segment, it highlights just that segment. It allows me to be able to go in and create a color there that I might want, whether it's black, white, or red, orange, yellow, whatever it is. But see over here where I haven't created these lines, it recognizes this whole entire shape because those lines overlap. That was the importance of overlapping those lines, okay? Because now all these are shapes that I can control. So if I want to add this, now here's my colors. My field is black. So before I click this, I want to go ahead and make the color. So I'm going to let it be black. Let's say I want it to be blue. So I can go in here, I select my blue, and go into this area. Boom, I can make it blue. Okay, Command Z it, because I actually want it to be black. And boom, there's that black. So that's how we'll make those black stripes. Okay, so you can always look back at this video, see how you can expand lines to shapes, erase away, clean them up, and then use the shape builder tool to build in those colors. Okay.